All right, Black Box Radio. Listen, we are in the box. Last night, Amachandra opened up the box for the Black Women History series. We know that in March, it's National Women History Month. So we always tweak it because we're Black centered and we have Black Women History Month. You see that young lady over there? She's Black history. But we're going to get to her. We definitely going to get to her. I'm Queen. I'm a host at Black Box Radio. We are a multimedia platform. We illustrate Black excellence. We platform Black people. We expose Black genius. And we definitely disseminate information to the Black community and other communities also. The goal is to humanize and our experience, but also to give it an authentic thought of what we do, what we are, what we be as just Black people wanting to be free in America. And that ain't easy. I promise you that. So this is a very authentic space for Black folks to connect, to link, to talk to other Black folks, to talk to the world. And so, I'm a woman. So me being living history also, let's get it straight. I'm a Black woman too. And so I got to definitely big up my sisters because, it's all love for that. And so we created this series to platform Black women who are nurturing their spaces, who are creating amazing things. And we want to share that with the community. And so tonight, in our Black Women History Month 2024 series, we have, I call her B Moore, but she's B, Sharise Moore. Say hi to the people.
Hey, everybody.
We're so happy to have you. And I see all the books behind you. So you're making me feel I got Black Box Radio behind me, but you got all them damn books. So that looks really good. Did you read all of them?
Girl, no.
I love the authenticity. That's what I'm talking about.
No.
But they look good. They look good, sis.
I have read, I would probably say about 75% of them.
That's how my bookshelf is. And some I've read like maybe 4 or 5 chapters, and I get turned around and I read too many books at once. That's one thing I do too.
Yeah.
But I think reading is fundamental, and if we just keep reading, it's a beautiful thing. A lot of people aren't reading; they're Googling. They're Googling everything, so they don't read nothing. So reading is a great thing. So let's talk about I call you B Moore. Your name is so B Moore. We're from Baltimore. We bigs up Baltimore. So I was telling my team, I got B Moore. They're like, who is B Moore? And I'm like, B Moore. I've been calling you that forever. But yes. So tell us a little bit about you. Where you're from? Are you from Baltimore? Just give us a little background on yourself, and then we're gonna jump right in.
Sure. I'm B. Sharise Moore. I am originally from New Jersey, born and raised. But I have been here so long. I was just telling a good friend of mine that it's weird that I've literally lived in Maryland as long as I lived in New Jersey. So I don't know how I feel about that because I will always say that I'm from New Jersey. That is
Keep
where
saying
I was raised. I was born, in at Rancocas Valley Hospital in
what part?
Hillsborough,
What part of Jersey?
Jersey. So I'm from a small town in Burlington County.
Okay.
And I went to a school. Well, a little bit about my town. It's about 92% white. Yes. And but my family, it's a really interesting situation. My my great grandfather ended up moving from North Carolina to New Jersey during the Great Migration. And Florence, New Jersey, where I'm from, and is right next door to Roebling. And I don't know if you're familiar with the history of Roebling Steel, but there was a steel mill there. And so my great grandfather worked in the steel mill, and he, he actually, I don't want to say befriended, but at least became acquaintances with a white man in the town who showed him the ins and outs of buying land. And so my great grandfather purchased Oh my gosh, one, two, three, four, five, about 8 or 9 plots of land in the town that I grew up in, and much of it is still in our family today.
Beautiful.
And he owned a restaurant. He had like a chicken coop and a farm on the land, and he worked really hard to make sure that he shared, his fruit and his vegetables, and like, of course, they had a pig farm or whatever, and all of that, and he shared that with many of the other black people in the town.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's me, and I'm a graduate of Rutgers University, also in New Jersey.
Jersey. Mhm.
Um, I've always wanted to be a writer. I knew I wanted to be a writer probably by the age of about 10 or 11 when I started my first little newspaper in fifth grade. And then I knew I wanted to be a poet. I thought I wanted to be a poet. And then soon after that, I started to write fiction. So yeah, that's me. I'm also a mom and a wife. I've been married for 8 years now.
Beautiful.
And let's see, I have a 7-month-old daughter and a 7-year-old son.
Oh wow, sevens.
Yes, 7 and 7.
Uh-huh.
A son just turned 7 last week, and yeah, and I have a baby girl, and I'm an agented writer now, agented author, um,
Again, say that again.
which is cool. I have an agent now, so I'm an
Oh,
agent
agent.
author.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I have a
Hmm.
literary agent, and I have 3 forthcoming books from
Oh,
HarperCollins as well as Algonquin Young Readers, which is under Hachette Book Group. And I'm also a curriculum developer, and I'm the poetry editor for Fire Magazine of Black Speculative Fiction. So I do a little bit of everything.
yeah. I'm like, okay, you threw a lot on the table. We about to get into every piece of it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Listen, the fun fact, I got to be transparent. I'm always transparent with the Black Box. Listen, I've been trying to get B. Sharise Moore to do this with me before. Let's get this. This ain't first. It's so amazing how the universe makes things happen. And this is the time because Black history, she writes, she's a writer. We always want to have an author or someone who creates books inside of the series. So she fits so well. But I wanted her last year, let's be clear. And she was super pregnant, y'all.
Super.
And she had the cancer. The doctor told her no queen of bee. You cannot get, so she had to cancel. And I
Yeah.
was hurt, but I told her I'm coming back. I'm gonna come back. And so this is our redo. We never got to do our first conversation, but I'm just so happy to have her here. But I had
Thank
to tell you
you.
guys that she was so pregnant, and now she got a 7-month-old. Look at that.
Yes, yes.
That's so beautiful. So okay, so you do a lot, man. Writing. I think we all have a book in us, B. Sharice, but we don't know how to bring it forth. And I'm afraid in a lot of like, I got 3 pages. I got 3 good pages for you, bro. And if you think you're getting another page, you better work with that. So when I see these books that are 300 pages and 250 pages, and I read, I'm an avid reader, and I like a lot of stuff. And I sometimes the story is important, but I'm like, how do people keep it going? How do you construct a book? Like, how do you want to be a writer? How does that feel?
Hmm. How does it feel to be a writer, or
Yeah,
how do
like
I?
how do you say, okay, my thoughts, all the things that I can write a book, I can put 100 pages out, I can put 60 pages out. Where
Hmm.
does that come from? Is that a gift?
It's discipline.
Ooh,
It's focus.
oh,
And
got
I'm
it.
an only child,
Okay.
and I grew up. Well, first of all, my father was extremely talented,
Okay.
and he played 6 or 7 instruments.
Oh wow.
And so one day, I was really young, maybe 5. I saw him playing the piano. Like, do you remember back in the day in the malls, you would just see like pianos just randomly in
Yeah.
places, and so my
Yeah.
father just sat down and played the piano, and I don't think I was aware that he could play at the time. And then I
Wow.
was like, oh my gosh, Dad, you can play the piano. And I was, I said, I want to learn how to play the piano. And so my mom took me aside and she said, "Oh, you do?" I said, "Yeah." Now, mind you, I had been going through some phases of the stuff I wanted to do:
Mm-hmm.
gymnastics, tap dancing, ballet. So
Yeah.
we were on the fourth thing, right?
Yes.
Because the first three did not work. So my mom said, "Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Do you know how much a piano costs?" And this is like 1984 or whatever. And
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know. So she tells me how much it is, and I'm like, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, okay, so this is what we'll do. If I get you a piano, which I will, you must promise me that you will take lessons until you move out of this house.
Oh
And
wow.
I said, okay. She said, no, I'm serious. You're not allowed to quit. And I said, okay.
Whoa.
And my mom made me sign a promissory note, like she
Love
made
it.
me promise her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, and I literally took lessons until I was about 19, 20 years old.
Wow.
And the discipline, and I'm a classically trained pianist, and I would, when I was in high school, I was in state competitions and national competitions
Oh wow.
that won me lots and lots of money, for college. Like,
Really?
yeah, yeah. I know I won this one pageant. It was a pageant that I was in because I was in two different pageants, and like that was like $10,000, winnings. And I would practice 3 or 4 hours, sometimes 3 or 4 hours a day after school, after I got home from school. And so that discipline,
Wow.
it just bled into my writing. So it's nothing for me to say, okay, well, I want to do this, and I know
Mm-hmm.
how to sit down, put the pedal to the metal, and make sure that I finish what I begin.
Oh, so I hear discipline, I hear a finisher because listen, we got a lot in common. I grew up with a piano in my house. My mom bought a piano from me and my brother. My brother paid, please. I was the worst. And I regret it because I can hit a little, but nothing like I should because I grew and the piano's still here in my mother's house. Can you believe that? Because
Wow.
people don't have pianos anymore. They have the little, keyboards.
Keyboards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is when there was no keyboards, or they
Right.
were, but they're not as nice as they are now. Let's say that
Right.
they didn't have the same sound as a piano, and the piano was getting tuned. That was
Mhm.
the number one thing, and
Mhm.
people would buy a piano for their homes.
Mhm.
I grew up with one, and I ain't
Mhm.
classically trained. I ain't ghetto trained. I'm not black trained. I'm not trained.
It's
I
never
have
too late,
discipline.
Queen.
Yeah, because my mom wanted me to do it. And when your parents push you to something, your mom made you sign up. She wasn't playing with you.
She
Promissory
was
note.
not.
So
No.
that's really cool. That's really cool. So you play the
Yeah.
piano. So you're musically inclined.
Mhm.
So you still do that, or
I haven't been playing in a long time, to be quite
okay,
honest. I've really shifted my focus to writing, and
to
that's pretty
writing?
much all I do now.
Okay.
But my my son did tell me he had an interest again to perhaps start playing. So it's possible that I'll be teaching him because I did give lessons. I was giving private lessons about 7 years ago. Yeah, my son is 7. In fact, I stopped giving lessons because I was so big I could it was uncomfortable me sitting behind the piano when I was pregnant with my son. So it's been a while. But every now and again I'll get on the piano and I'll play and I'll remember like, oh my gosh, you need to go back and you need to play more.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that I will probably definitely encourage my daughter. Like my son is not he's kind of but he's into
Hmm.
a lot of
Yeah.
different things. But my daughter, I have a feeling she may really be interested in it. And if that's the case, then I'll definitely pivot back.
Yeah, and it's a good. I'm telling. And listen, if you can learn it, and it's something that's beautiful, it's meditative.
Yeah,
Um, Music is therapy.
it is.
It is very therapeutic. So I really wish, and I look at the piano now, and I walk fast right past it. Real talk.
That's so funny.
That's real talk. So you got into writing with your discipline, and
Mhm.
so your first book. Kind of tell me how did that come about, and it's fiction, of course.
No,
It wasn't fiction?
actually, no. My first book was a chapbook of poems.
Oh, poems. Okay, you're a
Yeah,
poet.
yeah. So this is, what year is this? Ooh, I'm in college.
Okay. So that was a few years back.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so and I believe Jessica Care Moore comes to campus for poetic. So
Mm-hmm.
every single semester we had 2 events, one event in the fall and one event in the spring.
Okay.
And in the fall, I think was this event called Jazz and Java, but that came later. Jazz and Java was later. But poetic was definitely, I think, during Women's History Month. I'm almost positive.
Really?
And so Jessica Care Moore came and performed at the Paul Robeson Cultural Center up in at Rutgers,
Mm-hmm.
and it changed everything for me, to be honest.
Hmm.
And I knew I wanted to write poetry, and like I also kind of sort of wanted to be a rapper too. So spoken word was just like
Yeah. So.
perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and having all those years under my belt in performing piano and also like doing recitations at church. Remember those
Mm-hmm.
Easter and Christmas recitations?
Exactly.
I knew that I could do it. And I also did some acting, when I was younger as well.
Okay.
So I was like, this is not different from what I know. I already know stage presence. And I also know how to write. And so I started to perform,
Hmm.
and Jessica, and then there was some other sisters, around campus that were absolutely inspiring as well. Barbara Horn was just everything at Rutgers. Barbara was actually she owned her own small publishing company while she was still in college. Like
Well,
she was Barbara was
excuse
amazing. And
me.
we're still in contact too. I love Barb. She's just amazing, an amazing black woman, amazing sister on Rutgers campus, just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just saw her from afar because I was way younger. Barbara, and I want to say, was Barbara senior when I was at my first year record? She might have been a senior because I know she's
Okay.
a few years older than me. But I just would stare at her at afar like I want to be just like Barb. You know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
only did she have her publishing company, she was putting out these books
In college.
in college. She was publishing other poets.
Amazing.
And I mean, these books were not like, these were books, ISBN number, perfect bound books, beautiful books. Yes. And this is in the 90s,
Wow.
the
I wish
late
I was
90s.
so inspired in college. I was partying, police,
Girl, I
book.
was doing that too. But but still, Barb was just incredible. So that came, and then I started to branch out a little bit. One of my friends, Isaac Odesanya, is a really good friend of mine
That's
in
Nigerian.
college. Yes, Nigerian.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great friend of mine, really talented dude too. But you know, he said to me one day, we were just out talking. He was like, you're really, really good on campus. You can really win competitions on campus because I had like done really well in like an Apollo night that the Qs had.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like, but spoken word is bigger than records, right? And I was like, that's
Wow.
true. He was like, why don't you like go out? And I was like, go out where? And he was like, I don't know, find some places. And I was like, okay, and so I just
You
started to
right.
ask around. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I asked around, then I stumbled upon Euphoria Cafe in Newark, New Jersey.
Mm.
And so,
And Newark is very black, guys.
oh yeah,
Just
super black.
understand, Newark is not where she's from. Newark
No,
is black.
no.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm in college now, so
Yeah.
I'm up in, central North Jersey. So,
Sure. Sure.
it's
Sure.
different. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in Florence anymore. So, so I'm like, okay, let's see. So, me and a couple friends from college go up to Euphoria, and I want to get on the list, but everybody knows, like spoken word. If people don't know you, you're not getting on the list. They don't care if your name is on the list. They don't care if
Ain't
you
no list
first.
for
If they
you.
don't know who you are, you're not getting
That's
on the
right.
list. So I'm like, the only way I can get on this list for real, is the slam. That's the only way. That's the only way that I will be able to perform.
Okay.
And so all of us, I was slamming and I was winning. Like my first time, I would
You
win.
got skills.
Yeah, like I was
Yeah.
just winning. I was like, okay, well, let's just do this. And then
Slamming is right before rapping, I think. It's like
I,
it's like to me, it's like when you start slamming, you good with it. And you gotta be, your bars is right.
I guess you're right. I never thought of it that way, Queen. But yeah,
I think
true.
that's like the prerequisite. If you people can, you can put a
Yeah,
soliloquy, different poems together. But if you slam,
yeah.
you
No,
got
it is
bars.
a different level because
Yes,
you're also subjecting yourself to some direct judgment.
there you go.
You know what I mean?
You're
And which is
battling.
yeah.
You have to come off the top. You come
Well, you don't have to come off the top, not in the slam.
well, you don't, but a lot of people do.
I don't
And
nobody come off no top of no
well,
slam.
I've seen people who come off the top. They have something, and then they get challenged, and they throw other stuff in. I've seen that in slam. I'm like,
Girl,
oh,
that's the battle rap. That ain't no slam. Girl, not nobody come off no top of no slam.
stay in your lane. Let me stay in my lane because I'm not a poet. Go ahead.
No, it's cool. So I did that, and then the next thing was everybody had a chat book. You know what I mean? And it was like, so why am I going to this place paying to get in? I'm basically the entertainment, and I'm not making no money.
Ooh.
And then it was like, and I want to be a feature, so like I need to have product. So I had a chat book, and my first chat book was called Verbal Voodoo,
Mm.
and that was my first book.
What
Yeah,
would that first book would be? How much? 5, 10, 20?
five. Yeah,
Five. Yeah,
chat
that's
book is $5.
the books is $5. And so you peddled that like a nickel bag of weed, right?
Pretty much, we all did. And then soon you had to graduate. You get studio time, and then you graduated and you got a CD.
Oh, real talk.
People started putting
Okay.
out CDs.
Yes.
So, and those were 10.
Yep.
But yeah, and then like if you were really big time, there's a couple poets up at from New Yorican poets that would have like the combo CD book.
So you would get onto that, and
Yeah, I never did that. No, I
you
never
never
did
did that.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think KO might have been the first person to do that. If I'm not mistaken, it might have been KO, a poet named KO. He was big on the New York scene.
Okay.
So
And so
yeah,
poetry is your start, even in writing.
yes,
So wow, so you started flipping words around
yeah,
and slamming and doing your thing, and then you did a chat book,
yeah.
peddled that, and then here,
Several chat books.
several. Okay.
Yeah, I think I have about 4 or 5 chat books.
Okay. Do you have copies of those still?
I do. I still
Oh,
have them,
excellent.
and I wish I could hold them up. I thought they
You
were over
keep
here, but
those.
girl,
That's history right there.
yeah, but I do have them all. I have at least one copy of all of them.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And so so is that self-published too? So you're getting into those self-publishing, understand how to bound and presentation, and when you're doing a little graphics, look at you hustling like granddad.
I was. I was. I actually, when I was at Rutgers, I befriended. Well, I started to write for one of the school newspapers.
Okay.
One of them was called the Black Voice Carta Latina, and so I started to have form connections with different people because we would publish everything from art to poetry to articles, in the paper.
Wow.
And there was this one brother who was just an incredible artist. And I just asked him, like, we became really cool. And I just asked him, hey, would you mind doing the cover art for my book? And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, of course. So, there, but again, this is still like card stock with
Mm-hmm.
paper
Mm-hmm.
inside. And, like
Yeah.
I'm making copies at Kinko's or
I
Staples.
love it. Yeah, that's how it
That's,
started.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not, I'm not graduating to an actual book just yet.
Sure.
But,
Sure. Sure.
but
Sure.
yeah, so my first book was just a bunch of chat books with my
So
poems in
yeah,
it.
you full of, it's like I'm hearing you like filling your toolbox. Like I'm
Mhm.
starting, slowly learn because that's how you learn things. You
Right.
slowly start and you do something and you keep moving on. And so you got these chat books, your chest is out, you slamming, you're a superstar in Jersey. I see you. And so when you graduate, do the book start or do the book start in school? How does the
Um,
authoring come to play, or do you go into a career? Because some people start later or start again. How did you get to the authoring part of it?
that's a great question. Oh, I haven't thought about that. Probably my college professor. My last year at Rutgers,
Mm-hmm.
I took a class with Dr. Regina Jennings. I took two with her.
Okay.
Um, I took a class called Black Profiles, Malcolm X, where we read like 9 books just on Malcolm. Incredible, incredible class. And then she also taught a Black poetry class. where
Hmm.
all we did was learn about Black poets. And
Really? That's a
yeah,
class at Rutgers?
girl, Rutgers. I listen.
I
Rutgers
was scared
was
of Rutgers.
no, Rutgers was amazing. Like we had a Paul Robeson floor. We
I
had an
heard that
Africana house.
Paul Robeson Hall. I heard you.
Yeah,
Wow.
we had an Africana house which was nothing but Black women
At,
in the
at
entire house
Rutgers?
at Rutgers on campus.
That's
Yes,
beautiful.
this
I
was on
mean, I
campus.
love to, because we talk about PWIs all the time
Mhm.
in a kind of negative, like they don't, foster the Black experience. But what
Oh
I'm hearing
yeah.
here is more because, I went to Morgan. So we blacked up. You know the deal with that.
Right, right.
Yeah. And so, but to hear that you guys have this much Africanness going on, I'm like, big up to Rutgers. You there?
Oh yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
had a Paul Robeson Center on campus.
Oh,
The Africana Studies program was incredible. I even took a class with Dr. Ivan Van Sertima before he passed away.
oh wow,
Yeah.
that's good to hear because when you
Oh yeah.
go for education, you need well-rounded experiences. So I really like that. That's beautiful. My god baby went there for grad school, Rutgers in Jersey. So okay, so go big up to Rutgers. Listen,
Yeah.
okay, that's what's
Now I don't know from now listen, Queen, from what I've heard, a lot of that is not there anymore, unfortunately.
Let me give you the
So like I
disclaimer,
got
Queen. Let me get that disclaimer in there, sis.
right,
Things
because
have
like I
changed.
graduated from Rutgers many, many years ago. I may
Okay,
look young and spry, but
I see you. But
it's been some years.
okay, it's been some years. Okay.
So
So,
yeah, so and but Dr. Jennings at the end of the Black poetry class, she says, um, I'm going to publish you all. You all are going to be published at the end of this class.
mm,
And literally, one of the assignments was we had to submit with a cover letter. We had to choose three poems and we had to submit them to her because she was showing us how you get your work out,
the
how you
process.
submit your work,
Hmm.
to editors, the process.
Yeah.
And she said, and guess what? You know, in this collection will be Hakeem Matabuti as well as Amiri Baraka. So
Whoa.
the first time I was actually published, my poetry was published. It was in an anthology called the Black Poetry Anthology, and it was through Rutgers Press. And my poetry was in there with Amiri Baraka and Hakeem Manabuti. It was like the crowning jewel of everything.
I want to say
Yep,
big
right
up to
before I
that. So,
graduated. Yep.
yes.
So really, I have to give Dr. Jennings a lot of credit. She really believed in my work as a poet. She would take me aside and talk to me and tell me how much she enjoyed my work, and it kind of hurt my feelings when I found her years later and she didn't remember me at all. Child, I used to drive this woman. I picked this woman up from like the train station
Sis, that
and
old
took her to
memory.
campus,
Sis, that
and
old
she did not
memory.
remember me. But again, child, that was many years
Yeah,
ago.
that's many years ago.
We're talking about 23 years ago. So I
Wow.
gotta give her grace. But I was hurt. But
Wow.
yeah, that started the authoring,
That's
and
started it.
so I go through the early 2000s, and I'm really into poetry. One of the reasons why I moved to Baltimore was because of the art scene.
Mm.
After I graduated from college, um, I kept thinking about what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to stay in, definitely not in Florence, New Jersey. And I knew I wanted to move away. And then I thought about Baltimore and the art scene, and I also have a lot of family here too.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, let me just go ahead and check out what's in Baltimore because I love the art scene, and I end up here. And but I felt like the ceiling for spoken word was really low, especially at that time. It
Hmm.
was like you get on deaf poetry, then what? And I didn't even get on deaf poetry,
Yeah.
so that was a big disappointment for me. And then I didn't they had another couple shows that I just, didn't even try out for because I was like, whatever, I'm done now. And so I'm teaching, and
Mm.
I noticed that like in the curriculum for English, that there's like hardly any black authors that our students are reading. This is early 2000s, and so a lot of my students would talk about how much they didn't like to read. And so I would ask them and say, well,
So, let me ask you a question. So, you said
mhm.
teaching. Were you teaching in middle school, high school? What
High
level?
school.
High school. So you're teaching high in this Baltimore City or
I taught in Baltimore City for 1 year, and then
okay.
I was teaching in PG County schools.
That sounds like everybody. 1 year,
Yeah.
Baltimore get you for 1 year. Then that's a wrap. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're in Baltimore City for a year. Okay, so these are high school students, and
Hmm.
you saw not a lot of black representation in books.
No. And then
Okay,
I said, well, would you read it if it was there? And they were like, yeah.
I'm
If it was
sure they
there, I would
will.
definitely read it. And
Hmm.
so that's when I journeyed and ventured into fiction writing,
Mm.
and the first book that I wrote was called Graffiti Sunshine.
Oh wow.
And it was about a young boy who goes on an adventure to find, like, he's a poet slash rapper, and but his grandmother passes away, and his grandmother leaves him a bunch of clues for him to find a family treasure um, that was hidden by one of his enslaved ancestors.
Oh wow.
And so that was the first book that I'd ever written, fiction.
Ah. So how many times are you published?
Oh gosh, oh man,
It's like that?
yeah, it's like that. I have been published.
Oh,
I
super
don't know how
smart.
many. It's a lot.
Okay, let me give you a little shake. That black
Yeah,
box shake. Okay.
because
I didn't know that. That's excellent. So you're multiple published author.
yeah, and I because I have poetry published in different journals,
Okay.
in Fire, in Starline, in let me- man, I need to go back and look at my publishing credits because I haven't done them in so long.
Yes.
Yeah, and then of course Dr. Jin, and my forthcoming titles, they're forthcoming, so they're not published yet, but they're forthcoming. So, and then I have a couple short stories published as well.
Okay.
3 short stories published in different anthologies, and then yeah, I can't even tell you. It's definitely more than a dozen, is
That's
what I can
that's
say.
beautiful. And
Yeah.
listen, if you have to think about it, I'm like salute. I haven't published
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't published 3 sentences. So I'm clear that I am. Sister Tracy says congratulations in the chat. I say it too. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
She also said the first book was probably the most passionate because it was so raw. I'm sure it was, and it's still relevant. Like talking
Yeah,
about your first
yeah,
chapbook, like I bet if you go back and you can kind of see your growth and uh, how you went towards this process that you're in. Wow, I didn't. So you're multiple times published, and you have 3 books coming out.
yes,
Wow, so you're busy over there. My goodness.
yeah, yeah.
So
3 books
are
coming
you one of
out.
those writers that need quiet or you got to set up your space? Like some people have to go away. I know some writers that they have to go away to a cabin. They got to be alone. Some people, do you have to set up or you could just write? Are you
No,
just
I
one of
just
them?
write. I just write whenever I can. I can't do that. I can't have to have it.
Because you got children.
Because I have kids and I
Yeah.
have a baby. So like
Yep.
I
Yeah.
can't be like, oh, I can't write until, please. I would never write. I would
Listen,
never
that's
write
the black
anything.
women. We got to take care of business and we got to take care of business.
I- and I'm looking at the chat. Hi everybody. I literally just opened the chat like, oh, I should probably look at the comments. Hi Sister
Yeah. You should.
Tracy.
Yeah.
Hi
Yeah.
Shaka.
Brother
Hi
Shaka in
everybody. Hi
here.
Hotel California.
Yeah, that's my sister. She's always on. I appreciate her. And then we got Brother Shaka. We got Sister Tracy in here. So that's a pretty good crowd right there. And they're actually contributing. So that's a great thing. So I
Yes,
mean, this is
definitely.
so interesting because you know what I want to pop into because they always got to make these beautiful names, black speculative fiction. I'm like Afrofuturism, but you're like, are they verses? Are they the same? What is black speculative fiction? Because you are putting out books towards that or a curriculum towards that. Am I correct or am I wrong?
Um, Let me see. Well, the Conjuring World's textbook is an Afrofuturist slash black speculative endeavor.
Okay.
So, and it has a bit of both. But look at speculative fiction as an umbrella term, right?
Mm,
And then you have underneath it, you would find Afrofuturism. It
Oh,
would
so
be
it's
like a
more Black
subgenre.
speculative than Black
Um,
Afrofuturism. So it's more versions of speculative.
yes,
Ah,
yes. So speculative, underneath the speculative umbrella, right? You'll have fantasy, horror,
got it.
science fiction, and
Got it.
then
Mhm.
Afrofuturism, also
Okay.
steampunk,
Oh,
diesel
wow.
funk. Yeah, so all of that falls underneath it. Anything speculative,
Okay.
is going to fall under that category.
And Black would be Black centered,
Yes,
or a Black story. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
And
yes.
so so you wrote a textbook. This is very interesting because my textbooks wasn't, did not come from Black writers. So you wrote a textbook, and what is this textbook? What is it about?
So let me correct you.
You
I
wrote,
didn't
oh,
write the textbook.
oh, you contributed. Excuse me.
So listen, no, not even I contribute. So I curated the entire textbook. So I
Oh,
am the
wow.
editor of it. I'm the
Got it.
editor, but I'm also a contributor, and I also developed um, the much of the curriculum inside, the activities, the questions. So back in 2020, I was really discouraged. There were a lot of things going on. I was querying agents. So querying agents means I'm finished my book and now I wanted to find an agent to represent me.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so querying is hard. All right. I have never met a single author who has said that it is not. It is absolutely difficult. And I kept getting told no. I don't know how many no's I received. I received so
Really?
many no's until I said, you know what? I got to pivot here, you know? And it was weird because I literally pivoted right when everything shut down, when schools closed and
Yes.
everything.
That's March.
So this is more exactly 4 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, almost to the day.
Yep.
And so I pivoted and then I went back and I found a life coach. And ironically, my life coach, Baron, who is amazing, still indebted to Baron, love Baron from Newark, another Newark. And he was also a poet on the poetry scene.
Got it.
And but I wouldn't even describe Baron as a poet. Baron is like does everything, just a consummate performer and brilliant artist.
Mm-hmm.
But I talked to him. He became my life coach, and I sought him out. And he said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "You know what? I've always wanted to like create a textbook." He's like, "Well, do it. What's stopping you?" And I said, "Everything's stopping me. What do you mean? This has never been done before. What do I even do?" And and so we sat and we talked about it. And I said, well, what is a textbook except an anthology that includes exercises?
Oh,
And
wow.
at the time,
I
I
never
was
thought of it like
in,
that.
yeah, that's literally what it is. And
Mm.
at the time, I was in graduate school studying for my master's degree in curriculum writing. And
Mm.
so I'm like, well, I can. And also at the time, I had just received a position with Fire magazine as an acquiring editor for poetry. So
Mm.
now that I'm working with Fire, I had already been published in Fire. I have all kinds of connects now with
Mm-hmm.
everybody. And I mean everybody, because first of all, the Black speculative fiction writers or authors, like we all know each other in some way,
Sure.
shape, or form. It's a small group of us. It's really not a whole lot of us. And
Mm-hmm.
we all know each other in some way. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I've formed these great relationships. Now I just got to figure out how to pay people. Because the thing is, with creating a textbook, I didn't want to go through having to get copyrights from other
Mm.
people and buy older works. So I
Sure.
was like, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to acquire a ton of original works, right?
So people had to
And I
create work for this book.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And I didn't want to open an all call because I still was working full time, and I
Mm.
had a young son. So it's like I literally handpicked the people that I wanted to be a part of. So I thought about all the people that I truly admired, like Tanana Reeve, like P. Jelly Clark. These are people that whose work I absolutely adored. Zeta
Mm.
Elliott, you know, um, And then I was also a member of DWASF, which was like a diverse writers of science fiction and fantasy and speculative fiction crew, where again we were all really really cool. And then Milton Davis, you know. So I'm like, hey,
You just drop these
I need,
names.
yeah, yeah. I'm just
Like,
like Linda Addison, you know what I mean? Like just
wow.
fantastic writers who I already know. And I just said to him, I said, hey, you know, I'd like to do this textbook, you know. And actually before I even asked them, I said, well, I gotta raise money because I gotta pay everybody,
Sure.
you know. And so I'm talking to my life coach. My life coach is like, okay, why don't you do an Indiegogo, raise the money, and then think about how much you want to pay everybody. Now I'm with Fire, so now I also know about contracts for writers.
Yes.
I know about, okay, how much, you know, everybody should receive, and since Fire publishes both poetry as well as short stories, I know what these contracts should look like and the pay. And so I just literally itemize, okay, I want to have 10 short stories. I want to have, at least 8 poems. And I want to have, some nonfiction, 10 or 15 nonfiction items. This is what I want in the textbook. And I'd like some art, you
Hmm.
know?
So you
So
curated the whole thing.
yes. And I just
Wow.
literally, I made a video like I'm doing now. All right. And I made a video and I said, okay, hold on 1 minute. My son is, yes.
I love it. Come, son.
I'm in an interview, baby. You may have some ice cream the minute I'm done, okay, babe? Okay.
I love it. This is real, y'all. Mommy never stops. Go ahead.
Never. So I make a little video, I
Mhm.
itemize everything, and then I just kind of throw it out there. And it just a sister named Audrey T. Williams. So indebted to Audrey. And Audrey's just amazing. She actually has a poem in the textbook. She's connected. She's out in Cali, and
Okay.
she's like, let me share this with some of my some of my people out in California.
So the completed
And
book. So this
yeah,
is so it's
no,
completed.
no, it's not completed.
Oh, it's
No,
not
let
completed.
me just she said let me just share the campaign, the
Oh, okay.
Indiegogo
Oh,
campaign.
the Can't Go Go campaign. Okay.
Right. And so I said, okay.
The money.
Exactly. So she shares it and it just blows up. And
Really?
I made the money within 5 or 6 weeks. Like it took nothing. Just and
Really?
most of the people were virtually strangers. And guess what? This is also how I got my agent. So what happened was, with when you're doing a crowdfunding campaign, you have to have perks.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, what can I give people? And so I looked back and I saw a short story that I had finished, but I had never, sent out for anybody to look at. And I said, this is pretty good. Let me offer this as a perk. So anybody that donates $50 can get a short story. Oh my gosh.
Your short story
Literally.
is all over the place.
It was. And then one thing I have to pat myself on the back for is every single person, whether they donated $1 or $500, I sent them a personalized thank you email.
Oh,
Every
beautiful.
single person. And
Mm-hmm.
if anybody is, thinking about doing a crowdfunding campaign, that's what you should do to
Yeah.
truly engage. So anyway, I did that, and so I'm sending out emails, and after a while, I'm sending out so many emails, I'm not really paying attention to who I'm replying to. There's so many different people who are contributing, so it's just like a thank you so much, thank you so much, I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it. Here's the short story. You know, move on. So one day in it's like June of 2020, I get an email back, and it looks slightly familiar, but I don't know where I know it from. And so it says, "Hi, my name is Laurie McLean, and I'm the partner agent at Fuse Literary, and I read your short story, and I loved it, and I love your writing, and I want what do you plan on doing with your writing career?" And I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
And she's like, "Do you have anything for me to read?" Here's where discipline comes in. Yes, I had something for her to read. I had a couple completed books for her to read. you
Wow,
know?
because you had been putting your stuff together and just waiting. That's
Correct.
why. Yeah, you gotta work, do your work.
And ironically, 6 months, and you know where I knew her from? Six
Where?
months earlier, I had queried one of her agents,
And they told you no.
and she had turned me down.
And listen, in the chat they said they want some ice cream too, sis.
I saw it. We got butter pecan.
I love it. Wow. So see how a no becomes yes when you
Yeah.
stay in in your path. That's why you got
Yep.
to keep at it.
Yep.
And no, no's can be yeses at any time. You just keep going. I love that.
Yep. And so what happens is I literally get a team together and then I start making my phone calls like, hey, I love your work. Would you mind, uh, contributing a poem or an essay or a short story to the textbook? This is what the textbook, this is what I envision for the
Hmm.
textbook. And this is how much I can pay you. Sending out contracts, paying folks. And then we get all the story, and then comes the hard part. We got to make this into a book.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm married to an incredible graphic designer. So my husband is a that
You're
graphic
so lucky.
designer.
He saved
Yes,
a
I
lot of
am.
money. Wow.
And child, our marriage went through it through for this textbook. That's what
That's
actually
real
got
right
funny.
there.
But
Wow.
no, seriously, my husband did a dynamic job just
Yeah.
on laying out the textbook, and it took us 2 years because the textbook is 465 pages.
That's what I'm like. How,
It took
my
us a
goodness.
long time
That's a long to compile that.
to compile everything, and remember everything is separated into four different units. We have
Yes.
discussion questions, we have guiding unit questions that we created, we have comprehension questions for every single entry, and I have extension activities that has a complete 300 some word glossary. So the
Wow.
vocabulary is highlighted,
Yes.
all 2 and 3 tier vocabulary is highlighted in every single selection. And it has over 100 extension activities, and many of them are tiered for student learners, for different student learners in different ability levels and
So
different learning
amazing.
styles. And I also have almost 2 dozen rubrics. So it's a
In this book,
huge,
in
huge
this
book.
one book.
And this one textbook, it literally is truly a textbook. Yeah,
And you know, when you're in school, like especially at Morgan, and we buy these big textbooks. I was a science major, so these and they're expensive. And
yeah,
they go up every year and you cannot use them. The next year you got to buy a new one. And so your textbooks are your Bibles. I
yeah.
mean, you need these and to imagine that that's something that you produced. How do you peddle that? You know, I hear you hustler gene. So how do you peddle that, sis? How do you peddle 500 pages?
You know what? It's been difficult here and there. And
Uh-huh.
when it really, first of all, I have to shout out my homie Jason of the Black Robot Project,
Jason
Jason Harris.
Harris. Mm-hmm.
Jason has been such an incredible supporter of mine. He's an incredible guy, love
Mm-hmm.
him to life. And I remember, like, he really encouraged me throughout the entire process.
Great.
And he said to me, I after it came out, we sold 100 copies very, very quickly.
Really?
And then it just kind of slowed down.
How
But
much
the
is a
thing
copy, may I ask?
that's the thing. It's $75. So the textbooks are it's a textbook. It's a hardcover, full
Yeah,
color
but I think it
textbook.
should mean more than that. Wow.
You're right. You're right. It probably should because
I'm
I
like
actually don't make
75.
as much off of it as I probably
You
should.
gotta give me a Benji and a
Oh,
50.
right, right.
Stop
But
playing.
he said to me, he said, "This has legs. This has legs." And so, like throughout the years, here and there, like I would hear these mumblings, like randomly, somebody had done a presentation at a conference about it in Florida, and I was like, "What? What is going on?" And then, um, my homegirl um, Abir Shinawi, and she is a Palestinian sister who I work with. She actually has an educational consulting business that I also work
Palestinian.
with her. It's
Oh,
called Altair Ed. But
mm.
anyway, she's awesome. Love a beer. And she mentions to me, what was it? think it was like back in January. She said, the University of Buffalo was having a Black History conference this summer. You should think about presenting. And I said, okay, let me think about it. And so I go on their website and I'm looking at, the submission guidelines. And
Mhm.
so then I look at the top queen and it says sample topics using Conjuring Worlds by B. Sharise Moore.
You are kidding me. Your book is highlighted and stop it.
I said, what? So let, let's put it this way.
They done paid for the book and using it.
I applied. I applied and I sent in my workshop a proposal. So we'll see if I'm accepted.
Now you accept it. You
I
know,
hope
come
so.
on. Come
I should
on.
hear soon.
Oh my
But
goodness. That is
yeah,
crazy.
it's been amazing and it's also being used at homeschooling collectives and private schools in 5 different states now. So
Awesome.
here in
Awesome.
Maryland, in Virginia, in Illinois, in Indiana, and in California. So
Listen, we got
it's
something
awesome.
going here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's
Awesome feeling.
awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, and Black writer, Black graphic designer, a couple
Yeah.
that, and then a lot of the contributions were Black writers.
They were all.
They were all,
Oh yeah, no, this is no, I
all
wasn't playing with
African.
that. Yes. Definitely. Every single person. All
I
this was
love it. Maybe you want
all
to buy one.
Black
Shoot.
writers and
You got to
all
get that
Black
one. That's
artists.
75. We got to talk about that. That
Yeah.
ain't a hustle, James says. Even Sister Tracy said you definitely need to be charging more. I'm with
Thank
you,
you,
sis.
Sister Tracy.
Sister Tracy, listen, she need to put a $1.50 on that at least. I remember I paid $2.50 for books, and
I
I
remember.
graduated Morgan years ago.
I remember. I remember. I know. And I think I was scared.
Don't
But
be scared.
you look back and I would have done a bunch of things differently. But
Yeah.
yeah. And
But this
actually
next
my
textbook gonna be $1,000. See, that's how you gotta do. See, you gotta go like these rappers like Nipsey.
that's hilarious.
I'm serious. So that's low.
Yeah.
But that's a
My
lot of
husband
genius for
Yeah, yeah,
$75.
it's great, and my husband is also a writer as well, and he contributed. Tanana Reeve wrote this amazing piece called Thursday Night Shift, and it's about a young girl who is. How do I explain this without giving it away? But it takes place in Memphis, Tennessee,
Okay.
in 1968. April 3rd. So we all know what that is. On the eve of the assassination of
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther
On
King.
Martin Luther King,
And it's
yes.
a speculative story about a young girl who alters history. And so, as a companion piece, my husband wrote an amazing essay about the history of the Lorraine Motel,
Oh, the
which is
motel.
the setting
Mm-hmm.
of Tanana Reeve Dew's short story. And so he talks about the Lorraine Motel and its history and some of the history of Memphis, Tennessee,
So
and
all of this is in
it's
one
great.
household.
Yes,
All of this is going on in one household, sis.
yep, in one household,
Woo.
it is. It
That's
is.
y'all. I see why you got books stacked behind you. I got a lot going on.
Oh, listen, his library. First of all, this is just my personal little
That's your
library.
little
We have
personal.
another library downstairs in our living room, and he has just yet another one in his office downstairs in the basement. So, like together, we have. I know together we have over 1,000 books.
I
Definitely.
love that. That mean,
Yeah.
readers are leaders. So
Yeah.
yeah, readers are leaders. So you can bringing up some people up in there. So I get why
Yeah.
Shorty said I got to come here about this ice cream because I want people to hear my voice. I love
Right,
it. I love
right.
it. So that's something, man. God, your baby's gonna be, and that's what I was about to say, Sister Trace. Them babies are about to be writing soon. I believe that. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that's amazing. Wow. And so your homework, I'm gonna give you some homework. You're gonna have to raise this book price, or we have to do something. Listen, I'm sorry. That's the homework.
Right now, we just need more people to buy it as is,
Okay, okay. But
that's
that's
yeah. So
$75.
I'm tremendously proud of it, and I'm so grateful for all the people who contributed. Helena Hartsfield was also someone who assisted with writing some of the activities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was really a labor of love. It was an incredible project. I'm so glad it's finished. I'm so glad that we were able to get it out. You know, um, and I'm so proud of it. It's one of my crowning achievements outside of my children. So
That's amazing. Because once you do it once, even though the price I think is too low, you can do it again, and you know how to compile it. You know how to go about it. You probably can do it cheaper and make more. So it's the process of just putting it out and getting it done.
right,
So
right.
now you know what to do. But 500 pages, you're gonna give me a Benji. Don't play with me. So I totally, I totally understand. That's beautiful. And all Black writers. I
Yeah,
mean, you given oxygen to Black writers, to yourself. It's just that's just amazing. I cannot in my lifetime imagine 500 pages, and I was a part of it. Wow, amazing. So listen. What is next for you? Because I hear the 3 books, but what is in your mind? What are you creating? Because you're creative
right.
all day, all day. So what are you creating in that mind? I think it's an Afro future mind, or that speculative, whatever. What is in your future?
I have so many books that I want to write. Right now, I kind of I'm in between books right now, whereas I'm writing about 3 books at the same time and not writing any at all. You know, I'm honestly just taking a breather and trying to pivot again. I'm still nursing my daughter. I'm
Yes,
still getting used to having another baby in the house.
sure.
After 6.5 years of just having one, so I'm
Yeah.
still trying to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
But I am writing a chapter book for like ages, what is that? I guess 7 to 10,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah, 7 to 10. I'm writing a book like that, and that's kind of sort of where in the world is Carmen San Diego meets the Magic School Bus. So
Hmm.
I love geography.
Okay.
I was very young. I was in love with where in the world is Carmen San Diego, and even now I know like all the capitals, every state, in the United States, but I also like know many world capitals, world flags, landmarks, mountain ranges,
Oh, that's your
lakes.
thing.
That's
Okay.
my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to create a book that also reinforces geography and includes uh Black kids, but I also wanted to really home in on places in the Caribbean, so settings in the Caribbean, settings on the continent,
Yes.
and settings here in the South. And that has to do with magic. So I'm working on that series now. Um and I'm also working on another picture book, an Afrofuturist picture book that's centers my son. And I'm also working on a YA novel that explores the relationship between Black folks here in America and Palestinians.
Huh.
I've just been very,
We're gonna get into that. I want to dive in
yeah,
because I've read your stuff about this conflict, and you were very, very activated.
yeah, I'm really passionate about it. And then
Mm-hmm.
also just learning about how passionate some of my heroes were about it. So, like, Kwame Ture was passionate
Very
about,
passionate.
about the liberation and the rights of the Palestinian people. And
Absolutely.
so was Brother Huey, you know,
Hmm.
and Sister Elaine Brown. So it's like, these are some of my heroes. And if
Hmm.
my heroes, of course, Mandela, my heroes are passionate about, this, then this is obviously something I need to look into. And then I already mentioned my sister friend Abir Shinawi.
Yeah, you
That
say you have
just
a Palestinian friend. Yes.
Yeah, and just knowing she is the daughter of Palestinian refugees from the
Mhm.
original Nakba in 1948.
Is that
Her
right?
father, yes, was in the original Nakba.
Wow. Because
So,
it's gotten worse. I mean, this conflict is unbelievably inhumane. And I have to say it. And I understand your activism, and as Black people, if we understand injustice.
right.
And so we have to be able to have empathize with other people who are being actually galvanized, killed, dehumanized. This is awful.
And
Um,
also when we look, Queen, when we look at how these all of these injustices are really connected.
yeah, and we're
We
paying
look
for
at
it. I,
Yes,
my
yes,
money is going to
our
my
tax
tax
dollars.
money is paying for this foolishness. I'm not
It's
happy.
No, none of us should be. And it's really incredible. Like I saw a graphic, an infographic that talked about how what's happening in Palestine, what's happening, so West Bank and Gaza, how that's connected to what's happening in Sudan,
In
and
Sudan,
how that's happening
Congo,
what's happening in Congo.
absolutely.
And it was all connected,
Yep.
and so
It's all
I,
about greed and resources.
all of it is about greed.
Understand that, and it's all
Yeah,
about Westerners wanting the resources. It's the truth.
it is, it's
And the
Western
people are
imperialism.
suffering and dying for them to get to these resources, and we are paying
Right.
into this. Understand, we are galvanizing our money towards this. We're buying phones,
Yeah,
we're even just our tax money, even just buying a Snicker bar.
right,
So
right.
it's, I mean, I'm just being very honest. It's like
You're
we are
correct.
financing this. I don't almost made me say something wrong. We're financing this foolery
Yes.
and this idiocy that I see. And so I've seen your I think you've been in Facebook jail a few times. I think you put you in jail for
No,
sure.
I haven't been in Facebook
Oh, because
jail.
I was on death row, sis. Oh my gosh.
I
I just came home.
I delete my page every now and again. Like I do. I just deactivate my page every now and again. Like I'm just gone sometimes. You
I
know what I
wish I
mean?
could
I
do
just
that,
don't
but
feel like it. I
this
just don't feel
business,
like
I
it.
need to get in touch with folks. But sometimes Facebook, they don't. If they don't like what you say, you're gone.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
stay. Listen, I got a
It's
private place
crazy.
in the jail cell. They said sit her down right there. They go black box. I stayed there. I'm
That's
telling you, I just got home. So it's just really crazy, but I still understand. And we're so sad about what this technology, we say it's free. We
hmm
say that it's something that we all can use and that you could say what you want. But really, only a few companies own these technology movements. Understand, Facebook and Instagram are the same company.
yes.
And
And
so if they tag you on Facebook, trust me, you're tagged on Instagram.
and
And
on
so
thread.
where else do you have to go? So you go to
Right.
TikTok, or you go, which is a freer platform, or YouTube, but you still don't have the freedom
To say what you
as indigenous or African people or any people to speak the way you want. And it's unfortunate.
it is.
It's really unfortunate. It really is. So
Sister Tracy, I wanted to shout her out and tell her thank you for that idea.
yeah, I wanted to say, you know how
Yeah.
Black women help Black women.
Yes. Thank
And
you so
Sister
much.
Tracy's at the end of it. She's gonna close us down. So she's gonna be in this series. She's Black Woman History, so I'm glad she's here. But for
I'll
her to give you a hustle, I like look at her.
thank you, and I'll be back to watch her too.
Or if she keeps it at that price, add a component for her to speak and share virtually and or in person that could yield a greater finance. Sister Tracy, you got it going on. She's a hustler, she's a businesswoman, so I love that.
And you know
And
what, Sister Tracy, it's you know what, Khadijah speaks so highly of you. Khadijah Ali Coleman
yes,
loves you, Sister
Sister
Tracy. She
Tracy's
has
she's a beautiful
said
lady.
so many amazing things to say about you.
Yeah, she's an amazing lady. She's touched a lot of crowns in Baltimore. Trust me, a lot of people have had her energy on their head. So Sister Tracy's amazing, and that's a great hustle. But also, I want to challenge you too, because I got a young Afro-futuristic book. A young man just published. He's young. He's
hmm
in his mid-20s.
hmm
He just self-published an Afrofuturist book, and he also have QR codes, so he can update the book
Okay.
without doing another book. So the book is a book of infinity. It's a technology book. So that's something that you could think about adding to your books, where you could, and of course they pay for the update. So
Right.
you actually don't have to do the process of publishing, but you are publishing. That's the technical part of it. And so he's young, and I said that's a great hustle right there. So it's almost like the book is infinity and never gets old. And it's about a Black young man in the future of hip hop and music and all. So it's really fly.
What's
And
his name?
I got a self copy. I haven't read it yet, but and I can't drop it. I don't know it. I don't know the name. I'm sorry, I can't tell you the name.
That's okay.
Yeah, because I'm actually I'm in South Carolina, so I'm not in my studio. I would pull it out and let you look at it. But yeah, so I think that's something you could add to the things that you're doing, so to give you more of a technical move, and you don't have to publish. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's
Thank you
something.
for that.
Yeah, that's something. And I need 5% of all of these things that come out of Black Box. Stop playing. Stop playing, sis.
Oh, that's so funny.
Hit the sister off. Hit the sister off. So listen, I have really enjoyed hearing
Thank you.
what you do. I am so inspired by authors. I think you guys, reading is the oxygen that we need. I
It is.
think art is how we breathe. Reading is the oxygen, and it's so many things that we need as humans, and we must read. We must have things to defer to. History are in books, actual history. A lot of books are being banned.
Yep.
That's a problem here. That people do not want to hear the truth. They don't want the truth to come from certain people. Let's say that. And so we have a lot of Black women who are producing books that are being banned.
Yes.
Older books that's been Toni Morrison books. They're going after all the books, right? These ladies of liberties, these white ladies, y'all are something else. I mean, but that's what's happening. They're going after all of these books.
Yeah.
And so, as an author, I'm truly inspired by what you're doing, and to give other people, other Black authors, or Black creative spaces to be a part of your genius is next level. And I didn't know you was a superstar, but I got B More on here. I didn't know.
And
Now I
thank
know.
you to Hotel California for ordering it. I appreciate it.
Oh, she did. Oh, she's so special.
Thank
She's
you.
that. Yeah, she ordered. Yeah, so that's really nice. I'm glad you see the chat. And so, listen, we're an hour in. It doesn't feel like it, but we got to get Joseph his ice cream.
I guess
Peanut.
so, because his bedtime's coming. So you're right.
Yeah, and I know that Peanut. I know all about y'all. Yeah, see, I'm all in your business. Peanut. He got to get his butter pecan. I get it.
Yeah.
And so we really appreciate you. You're a very calm interviewer too. You just sit back and talk. I love that. You're so good at this.
Thank
So
you, Queen, and thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it. I
I
really do.
appreciate you being in space with us. And you are the second edition to BLakWomen History Month 2024. You have 2 of 6. You've been a blessing to this series. I hope that we can stay in touch for sure. But I really, really love what you do. I really, really love what you do. So take care, be Sharise.
Thank you.
I want to tell them, please like, share, subscribe, guys. Like, especially YouTube. You heard I stay in jail. So Facebook is not the place. Hit us on YouTube, subscribe, like, and share. Help us grow. We are an authentic Black platform, and we definitely do this 6 to 7 times a month. Tap in, pull up, talk to us. We appreciate everyone. Good night, Black Boxes. Good night, B.
Bye,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Oh, and you all can hit me up at B.Sharise, Threads, Instagram, TikTok.
So it's B.Sharise.
Threads, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah. Okay. So any emails you want to lay down or anything like that?
No.
Y'all can't get in touch with her. I love it.
No, just send me a message on Instagram.
Just DM her.
Yeah, you can DM me on Instagram.
Let me write that. You said B.
Sharise.
Yeah, let me write that in the comments, so that'll be something that folks can get in touch with you on a later. B.Sharise on all social media, right?
Yes, most social media, the ones that I actually care about.
Well, trust me, if you don't see it, she's already gone. So listen, just have a beautiful night. Kiss those kids, and we really appreciate your genius tonight. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.